Wake.tv. It's time again to dive into the hustles, the hurdles, and the highs that keep small business leaders up at night. I'm your host, David Hooser, and I'm grateful to welcome today's guest, Diane Palacios. She has a lot of credentials, folks. We're going to dive into those later. But essentially, Diane owns Palacios Crew Counseling. Effectively, her company is a perinatal group mental health private practice focusing on expecting and new moms and their support network. Diane, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me, David.
Wow.
I'm really excited to be here. Thank you.
You're a welcome guest, and I've got a lot to learn just from the introduction here. We've got a lot to talk about. So let's get started with our foundational questions. So as a wife, a mother, a small business owner, operator, and a counselor to so many in need, what keeps you awake late at night?
Well, if it's not my children,
They do that.
Right, they sure do. It's thinking about business or thinking about what are the needs of the business, what are the needs of the company. Sometimes it's financial, thinking about what are the next moves that I need to make, or what are the next things, or getting credentialed with this insurance company, or are we getting the payout? So something that's also really important for me is always making sure that my contractors are always paid. And
Sure.
We've never had a time in my business where we haven't been able to make our ends meet.
So
that's
you're
something-
mostly insurance?
So we mostly
services?
see insurance now. So we are credentialed with 3 different insurance companies. We started out as a private pay company, but due to the need and access to care, I decided that it was time to move towards insurance so that we could have more people receiving services and at the frequency that they needed to.
Okay, so let's go back for a minute because you have many professional credentials. Mm-hmm. Let's start with those.
Okay.
You gave me a lot of acronyms.
Yes.
I knew I couldn't do most of those justice if
Yes.
I tried to repeat.
Yeah.
So tell us your credentials.
So I am a LPC, which is a licensed professional counselor.
Okay.
I'm a LIAC, which is a licensed independent addictions counselor.
Okay.
I'm a PMHC, which is perinatal mental health certified professional. And I'm also certified and an EMDR consultant. And EMDR is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing,
All right.
which is a trauma modality for therapy.
For sure, I would have struggled with one or more of those.
Yeah.
But wow. So let's talk about what that means. So let's take your journey. So how did you get? I assume you didn't just come out of those programs and go straight into owning your own business.
Yeah. So counseling is my second career. I was in a ministry career first, and I had started, it was around when the recession hit in 2009, and I was running a family foster group home at the time.
Oh, you were?
And,
okay.
Yeah, and I had experience. I worked in LA in Skid Row and worked with women and children, and so counseling was just an organic fit for me. And my supervisor at the time, she was doing my 90-day review and said, you need to go back to school and get your degree in counseling. This was in May. And I've already have a master's degree. I don't really want to go back and do counseling. And so that was in May. By July 1st, I was already enrolled in my first classes and taking classes in counseling. So in counseling and addiction counseling. So I was a therapist, and this is probably,
still in LA?
No, I'm back in Arizona at this time.
Okay.
And in Arizona, I went back and got my professional counseling and addictions counseling dual degrees. And so I was a therapist, and I worked a lot with teens at the time. And so I used to run teen girl groups and pregnancy and postpartum groups while I was pregnant with my first child. So my first child's 13. So I have a 13-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 10-year-old. So 3 kids in 3 1/4 years, which was really busy.
Yes.
So during that time, while I was having children, I was a therapist, and then I became a manager. I was working in community behavioral health, and then I became one of the clinic directors. And so that was part of my journey. And part of my journey of starting my own private practice, it was during COVID had hit, and it's part of my personal story, is my husband ended up having life-saving open heart surgery.
Oh my gosh.
And so
During COVID?
During COVID, yeah. He was really sick. We didn't know what was happening.
Wow.
And he went in for an angiogram, and the doctor called me. I wasn't able to go to the hospital because of COVID, and they said he needs open heart surgery. So our whole world just flipped upside down. And so through that journey, I really was feeling I was one of the clinic directors. I was working way too many hours a week. And I thought, my family needs more of me. And so I need to be more available to them and be able to work the hours my kids are in school and be able to take my husband to appointments, which he's doing amazingly wonderful now. So
that's great news.
He's wonderful now. But that was part of my journey of what had me go into private practice and own my own business. And,
All right.
And so for the first few years, I was able to really maintain a really healthy balance of work, family life, and one of the things I had talked about was starting to take insurance. And so now with insurance, that's one of the challenges is it does provide more access to care, but it does mean that we need to work more.
You've got more administrative
workload, and also in just the payout with insurance company doesn't pay the same as private pay, which means working more.
Right.
With my children, I have 2 children in junior high now. It works with their work schedule. So I really try to structure my work time with clients face-to-face while my children are in school.
Well, you don't strike me with all of those achievements you've discussed as an underachiever. So I can see that once you get into something, you get passionate and engaged in it heavily. So and that would be every aspect of your life, both business and that's one of the things we try to tell our audience is you need a balance. And it's hard to keep a balance as an entrepreneur. And it's hard to keep a balance as a mother. It's hard to keep a balance as a spouse. It's hard to keep a balance in life in general. But certainly when you add that dynamic of starting your own business. And you were doing, it sounds like when you first started, your private practice was mostly you.
It was just me, yes. And now I have three clinicians that work for me, and I have an admin assistant, which has been an absolute blessing because it's helped me to back off and to be able to not be in the nitty-gritty of the everyday operations.
Right.
And she's just started with me in August, so we're still figuring out our rhythms, but it's been so helpful.
Are you still doing counseling
Absolutely.
directly? So it's kind of a part of you, isn't it?
Yeah, I love it. I love helping people find hope and healing in their lives, and I also love teaching and supervising to help clinicians to just grow to become really good, confident clinicians.
So your in your practice, it says group, private practice, but that just means it's a group of professionals working together. Your sessions with your patients are more on a one-on-one.
Individual, yes. Okay. So we provide individual counseling, and some of my clinicians provide couples counseling as well.
Okay. And it's, again, all around pregnancy.
Pregnancy, postpartum, infertility, loss. And so each clinician has their own specialty. And so when we have inquiries from clients, they will tell us, or my admin assistant, what is the presenting concerns, and then they get assigned as appropriate by insurance, by if they want in-office or telehealth or what their specialty is. And so we have different clinicians that have different specialties.
How has that changed? Are more and more people doing remote therapy sessions? Or are they?
It's really a combination.
Is it?
And I find sometimes with moms, it's very different. Some moms want to have that break and be in the office.
Yes.
Something that's unique about our practice is I tell them your babies and arms are welcome. And so whatever you need to do, if you need to feed your baby, if you need to change your baby, if you need to pump, whatever that looks like, you're able to do. So either in office or also at home as well. If they have toddlers, sometimes it's easier for them to be at home and put Bluey on for their toddler or a movie so that they can have that time. And so I just explained to them that this is your time, but I also understand as a mother that there is a culture of interruption with your children. And so please do what you need to do to take care of yourself, to take care of your children. And so it really depends what that mom wants. Sometimes they want, this is my time, no interruptions. Sometimes it is that I have my baby with me because I don't have childcare.
Right. We had, so I don't know if you looked much into the my past endeavors, but one of my most proud achievements was launching an organization in around my online school. So we had a secondary education program online, so middle school and high school, and we would get calls in from our Google Ads campaigns or, Bing, Yahoo promotions, a few of Facebook at the time. And they would normally be a mom looking to put her son or daughter in an online education program. About every fifth call was a single mom who was looking to go back to get her high school credential so she could go and get a diploma program or a associate's degree program somewhere, but couldn't get funding without her high school credential. Yeah. And so we built a nonprofit, and it's interesting you say that because single moms have a set of needs. Number one, they got to work after their kids go to bed for a program like mine. Because otherwise they're busy. They're single moms. They've got jobs, sometimes two. They've got families. They certainly have special demands of their kids. And then a lot of times they wouldn't have computers at home. And we worked with a lot of group foster care kids who were going group home to foster care home to group home. And, disrupting, this well, their education.
Absolutely.
They'd be effectively an 18-year-old freshman high school student, So we built programs around those, special needs situations, both for foster kids and for single parents, but normally it was a single mom engaging in our program. So, and we got to work with Morningstar, we got to work with Lyft to help give them transportation to testing centers. So do you have some of those kind of challenges too, I guess?
So sometimes we do. I think everybody's journey is so different and what everybody's coming in for is so different. And sometimes it is that maybe they're going through a messy divorce, or maybe they are a single mom or single parent by choice.
Right.
And so again, working with clients that are also going through IVF, and that story looks different, whether it be infertility or same-sex couples that are wanting to have a family. And so we do work with single moms, we work with couples, we work with just anything presenting with pregnancy, postpartum. Sometimes there's medical issues within pregnancy, sometimes with postpartum as well, that there's postpartum anxiety, depression, rage, intrusive thoughts, and just helping them to talk through those things and understand and find healing.
It's critical. It's so important. Now, where are you located in the Valley?
Yeah, so we're actually in downtown Phoenix-ish, between downtown and uptown. So we're off of 2nd Street, just south of Osborne, so Monterey and 2nd Street.
Okay, so not far from this studio.
Not far at all,
That's good.
Yeah.
That makes it easy.
Yeah.
And so you got into that. Now, you started doing it because it met your family needs. You started doing your own counseling kind of independently or individually, and then you started growing. What prompted that change?
Yeah. Well, when I started, I was seeing clients during the day. I'd pick up my kids and then go back to the office at night and see clients again as I was starting.
Okay.
And then I decided, I was about a year in, and I said, I'm not going to work evenings anymore.
Okay.
And so it's a need, and I want to meet that need, and so I'm going to hire somebody.
There
So
you go.
that's how I decide to hire, is there's a need, and I need to meet it, and that's how I decide to bring more people on.
Okay.
To meet the need.
So your background, we mentioned you have a master's degree. What was your undergrad, and how did you get into the therapy kind of space?
So I have my bachelor's is in psychology. I went to NAU.
Okay.
And I actually started volunteering in Phoenix in underserved communities when I was 15.
Okay.
And I fell in love with the community. I fell in love with helping people. I actually decided to learn Spanish because I was working with kids and they were cussing me out in Spanish.
And you wanted to know what
I need to learn what they're saying. And so I learned Spanish, and I do therapy in English and Spanish, but my family is intercultural, and so my husband was born in Mexico City, And so our children are bilingual, bicultural. They go to a
cool.
bilingual education
That's so
program.
important now.
Yeah. So that was really where I fell in love with working with people. And I knew for the rest of my life I was going to work with people. I just didn't know what that would look like. And I think in different seasons of life that's changed.
Sure.
When I was younger, I'm in my mid 40s now, but when I was younger, I'd work with teenagers a lot. Now I have teenagers, and as my kids say, I'm really cringe.
Yeah.
And so if I work with teenagers, I'm not, I'm
That's
not
funny.
as, I don't know what the word would be,
Relatable.
relatable anymore,
Yeah.
because now I'm a mom and of older children. And so I really enjoy this perinatal population. I'm not in the trenches of it anymore.
Right.
And so I can look back and just say, it's going to get easier, it's going to get better. You've got help, you've got support. And so let me help you find that support. And
Well, and you can relate to that because, like you said, you have 3 kids. Did you go through any challenges like that you that you work with your current patients or clients?
So I think a lot of times, when I was having children, they didn't really talk too much about perinatal mental health. It was somebody
Right.
has postpartum depression, and that was it. I didn't
Right.
experience a depression, but I definitely experienced perinatal anxiety of just having to have things the right way, or just even having my boys. I got pregnant with my second child when my first was 8 months old. So my boys are 16 months apart, and then between my second and my third, it's 22 months. And so it was quick. I was having.
Wow.
We had and I was in my
And
my
you're
30s.
going through body, changes,
things.
your own
Yeah.
thoughts, your
Yeah.
physical changes.
Yeah, and so I'll tell people I was pregnant and breastfeeding for 6 years straight without a break.
Yeah.
And
My
and so
goodness.
definitely been through that season. And I think something that really got me through it was support and friends.
Right.
And especially when I had the boys, as I remember this friend, she's so dear, and we're still really close to this day, but she would come over every Thursday, and we would walk. It was August when my son was born, my second, and we didn't care how hot it was. I was like, I just have to get out of the house, and we're just going to walk to the park. And so she would bring her toddler, and we would just walk, and we would just get out of the house. And so something for me that was helpful during that time was have an activity, have social interaction.
Right.
So I did mommy and me groups, I did music groups, I did baby sensory groups.
Right.
For me, that's how it helped me to get through. My sister also had her daughter. Our first children are 6 days and 12 hours to the minute apart. They're super close. And so my sister and I would spend Fridays together, and I would usually go to her house, and we would hang out with our babies. And so I think just knowing yourself, knowing what you need. Some moms, they want to be more at home and want to relax a little bit more. And so it is just really finding out what organically works for each individual, because it's not a one-size-fits-all. And so,
Well, and you became more involved in this after. So your therapy work prior to it was in, like you said, with kids, with
teens,
various,
yeah.
and you have a licensing in addiction therapy, and so a lot different than once you went through the 6 years of life change and baby bottle.
Yeah.
It's funny because I've had 2 kids. I think I've recovered nicely from it, but I joke. My kid's mom and I separated when my son was 8 months, and I had a big business trip coming up. And so I ended up taking my 8-month-old son and my just over 2-month-old or 2-year-old daughter on the trip with me.
Yeah.
So kind of like you were talking, sometimes you have to do it. My mom, fortunately, was in Tennessee, and they live in Kentucky, so they came up to meet me. But it was funny when I got on the plane, a single dad or a dad, no mom involved, and 2 babies. Everyone on that plane helped me. They thought I was going to break them, that I had no clue what to do. It's funny, the difference in what we would assume. I mean, everyone will help a single mom, but we have faith in that single mom knowing what to do. But very few people think of a dad can go through that kind of experience without radically messing something up. And I can imagine you have, like you said, in your practice, you have couples therapy, and there's a lot of impact on dads.
Partners as well, as I work with dads as well. And dads can also experience the postpartum
Yeah,
depression
exactly.
and the postpartum anxiety
And challenges.
and the
yeah.
challenges, and that responsibility of a lot of it is on me, whether it be financial or just I'm holding the space for my wife because she is struggling, or my partner because they
Right.
are struggling. And I'm trying, and so there's a lot of things that dads experience, I think, that's not always acknowledged, because a lot of the focus is on mom.
Right.
And it's not necessarily on how it's impacting dad and how that has completely shifted his life as well.
Sure.
Or partner, right?
partner,
and so,
right.
yeah, and so just being able to provide that support as well. And normalize just how hard parenting is. And you were talking about the airport. I remember we had three kids. My daughter was maybe 2. I was wearing her, and she was just so upset. She wanted to have a nap. I don't know. She wanted to get down. I can't remember. She ended up just crying so hard she threw up all over the place.
Oh my gosh.
And so my husband and I, he's trying to corral the other 2 kids who were maybe 5 and 2. I don't know, 5 and 3. I don't know what they were, 6 and 4, whatever the ages they were at the time.
Sure.
And this other mom came, and she just helped me. And she just helped me to just, clean up the mess and just help me
so
to
cool.
get what I needed. And I think there's just this community of
Yes.
moms of when you see another mom struggling, you just jump in.
You
and
automatically.
and that's just something that I do too. Is like, hey, I'm there. I've been there and I've lived it. And so let me just come in and support you. Or even, single dads or dads that are just, when somebody's struggling with their kids, it's just instinctual to let me help support you.
Right.
Because it does take such a village. It really, really does.
So let's talk about the business side. So
Okay.
what do you see differently now that because you are a practitioner,
Mm-hmm.
but you're also the business owner. So you just talk about your day and how you partition and allocate time to the business each day that you go and show up at the practice.
Yeah. Well, as you stated earlier, I'm a little bit of an overachiever, so I see between 7 to 8 clients a day.
Oh my goodness.
Myself.
Okay.
And then
Hour sessions,
hour
45
sessions.
minutes,
Mhm.
hour
Yeah,
sessions.
53-minute hour, but
Yeah.
an hour
Yeah.
session. And so I usually I'll have lunch.
Just so you know, that's a full day.
It's a very full day. So that's a full day in of itself.
Yeah.
And then I will also, during lunch, I do schedule a lunch hour, but a lot of times it gets filled with meetings or supervision for my other clinicians. So something that's important to me is to be very available for them. And so they know that they can just text me if they need something. Because
Okay.
again, if they're struggling with something, I don't want them to have to wait if something's emergent. I want to be able to be there for them. So my family's also they're aware of that. They're supportive of that. My husband's a teacher, so he also has very similar dynamics of sometimes work will just need us for different things. And so, but we also try to guard that time as a family. So dinner time, putting the phones aside. Or we love to travel a lot. We love to vacation.
Very cool.
We just got back from California. We try to really have intentional time and just really memorialize those moments when we're together, because there are so many times where we do work a lot.
Right.
And that is the reality of being a business owner is
Right.
you do work a lot. And
Right.
there's you don't work, you don't get paid a lot of times. And so
You get paid last, as I tell
You get
other
paid,
business
yeah.
owners. You get paid last.
Yeah, and exactly. And so you have to take care of your people first. And so
Right.
that's what we do. And so as a business owner, there might be just emails that will come through that I need to address, or different phone calls or inquiries. But sometimes now my admin assistant is able to take care of those
Yeah, that
things
makes
as well.
sense.
And so that's been just a blessing and a lifesaver for me. And so I'm learning in my own business, because this is my baby, right?
That's
This is my
right.
4th
This
baby,
is-
to delegate.
Your company is
My-
your name.
It is,
so-
it is. And so being able to delegate and really say, okay, she can take this, so my nervous system can have a break, so I'm not constantly on. That's one of the things that I think I struggle with, is being on all the time. And so I need to be able to tune out. And so when I was out on vacation last week, she's like, I've got it. I've got the emails. I've got the
you covered.
phones. You just go. And that was and I told her last night, that was so freeing for me to just be able to be like, oh, I can relax. I don't have to jump every time an email comes through. I don't have to. And again, not everybody is as just moves as quickly as I do with things,
Right.
but I think, and I mean that with other business owners too. Some people
Absolutely.
are better about taking more time, but I like to get things done, because it will pile up. And so if I don't address this, the next thing is always there. So
Okay. So
Yeah.
do you see your business expanding?
yeah.
So
yeah.
what do you see next? I think you have a new program
Yeah,
that you're making
yeah.
available.
Yeah, I do. And so that's separate from my counseling business, but it came out of the need of hearing moms say, nobody talks about these things. Nobody talks about postpartum. Nobody talks about how hard this is. And so after hearing this for years and years, and even just my own experience, I developed Palacios Pathways, which
Okay.
is it's an online program where people, not program, but it's online, and people can download educational materials, pay and download for educational
Okay.
materials. And so it's on pregnancy, postpartum, parenting, infertility, grief, and just if somebody's not ready to take that next step for counseling, but they have mental health resources available. It's not a replacement for counseling, but it's bridging that gap.
Sure.
And so it's going from, I don't have any support, I don't have any resources, but I'm not ready or I can't afford counseling.
Can't
or
afford it, right.
And sometimes there's stigma and shame that we're trying to break down, but it does allow just kind of to bridge the gap, to provide additional support. And eventually I'm in process, a slow process of becoming a continuing education provider for other professionals in perinatal mental health. And so that way I can do additional trainings for other professionals and in the birthing community.
So using the same platform that you have for the pathways?
Yes.
Okay. And then is that an interactive? Do you have your curriculum in a self-paced online format, or is it I download, I go in, find what I'm wanting to engage with, and then it's a downloadable asset from that?
So we just launched yesterday, and
so it's brand new.
Yeah, brand new. And so as of this moment, it is downloadable.
Okay, sure.
But I am preparing interactive programs for parenting.
Imagine
or for
that. I
postpartum.
never would have guessed you were looking ahead.
Yeah.
But from the days when I started building my learning system, my student management system, I had to build it all. I mean, there are really good tools now that you can build into your curriculum, which didn't exist when we built ours. We were one of the first.
Right. And I have a wonderful marketing team that is amazing at technology, that knows how to do all of that. So I provide the content, and then they help me make it pretty and get the website up and going. And so, again, one of the things about being a business owner is you capitalize on your strengths and you delegate your weaknesses.
Right.
And that's something that I've absolutely lived by. Is when I started my business, I said, I know I'm going to need an accountant. I know I'm going to need to make sure the finances are in order, and that is not something that I want to do, so I will make sure I hire a CPA. And so same with marketing it will take me an hour to post something on Canva, and it makes me cry, and I don't want to do it.
Right.
And so I have somebody else that does it.
So and while I have that, I'll take a moment and plug our sponsor, our Protected by sponsor. Same kind of thing. They do managed IT services. And it's interesting, more and more small businesses like yours, medium-sized businesses like mine was, are getting targeted by hackers and by AI bots that are programmed to try and just constantly infiltrate your network and reach your client data. And so what these guys do is help you, like you said, you delegate to those people that will not miss that one, connection that is critical to securing your information. So mbps.com, if you guys are looking for an IT services company, you should take a look at them. So, but and should you? I know I use them now, and I always left it up to my team. Like you said, my marketing team would be doing. I got a good a geeky guy over there. I'm going to let him do the security on and it's just you really need, as a small business owner operator, we all tend to try and like you said, expand our do it ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's just not optimal. And I know funding is a big part of that.
Yeah.
But it's a lot more costly if you spend money on a marketing campaign that doesn't work, because I had the idea. I know I've got a couple ideas and I'm going to do these. Well, they may not work. And there are usually reasons that your marketing team would direct you to address before you launch that you probably won't think of if you do it on your own.
Yeah.
Same with IT. And the same with, like you said, your strength in bringing an admin in. You could do that, but then that takes off. It changes the balance in your everyday life.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but it's critical that you build that team.
Absolutely.
That's the number one, for success of your business. Think about building the team. Sometimes, it's an informal team member, a contractor, or, I don't recommend the neighbor's son unless he has a specialty in something.
Yeah.
But usually it's critical and in one aspect or another. And again, we target folks like yourself, small business owners, operators on the show. And you can't stress enough building a team to help you grow in a logical way, in an efficient way, and in a complete way, a quality way.
Absolutely.
And I can tell you have that focus. So.
Yeah. It again, I said it earlier, it takes a village. It really does.
It does.
And to do the things that you thrive with and that your strengths and the things that maybe you are areas of growth or improvement to let other people do, unless it's something you really, really want to do yourself. But again, then you're spread too thin. And so being able to focus on the things and on the growth and on the parts that are life-giving for you, because somebody else creating a website is life-giving for them. For me, it absolutely is not.
It's
so,
just not.
It just isn't.
But you need one.
Yes, but I need one. And so it is just having that team, and having the right people on your team is also so important.
Very important. So while we're here, how do people reach you, your website, your business, your phone, whatever is the best way to contact you?
Yeah. So my website is palacioscrewcounseling.com.
Okay.
So Palacios.
Which means?
It means palaces in Spanish.
In Spanish.
So Palacios and Crew, CREW, counseling.com. And my business that I just launched is called palaciospathways.com.
Okay.
So that's for educational resources.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for educational resources as related to
Perinatal mental health.
perinatal, yeah. And then also you said you're doing it for continuous education or
I will be in
professional
the
ed?
future. So
Okay.
I will be providing continuing education for professionals, for licensed therapists, or even in the birthing community, or people who are interested of providing more therapeutic interventions to the birthing community or to the perinatal population, and just want more guidance on just the issues or the things that may arise.
What an exciting life you lead. Very happy you took the time out of that schedule that you just described to spend with us. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
And for everyone else out there, thanks for joining. Remember to like this episode. If you enjoyed it, let us know. Subscribe to the podcast if you're not. Send your friends, family, peers, staff, whoever could benefit from this program, and we'll look for you on a future episode.
Thank you so much.
Okay.